Welcome to the Class of the Little Sass podcast. I'm your host, Carrie Millspaw, best-selling author and award-winning motivational speaker with over 20 years in the personal development industry. I believe that the more you know, the more you grow. With each podcast episode, I will educate and empower you, girlfriend to girlfriend style, on how to create a happy life, from motherhood guidance, career and business advice, to feeling confident in your relationships and everything in between. This is Real Talk Radio. Let's jump right into today's episode. Hi, friends. Welcome back to my 6-part dating series, Navigating the Dating Scene with Class and a Little Sass. I am loving the feedback that I'm getting in my private Facebook group from ladies that are binge listening to this series. It's kind of fun. You never know when you do a podcast how it's being taken. It's not like a Facebook post or an Instagram reel where you get comments and likes and you kind of can get an idea of how many views it's seen. All I can tell when you have a podcast is the back end is how many plays it's had. That's it. You're like, is that good, bad? I don't even know. I know that thousands of people are listening to this, but is it well received? What's the feedback? So occasionally you'll see where I'll add, you can ask a question or you can throw in your comments. Sometimes I put it in a poll. And this is through Spotify platforms. So if you're not listening on Spotify, I don't think you have that option, like on iTunes, for example, or Amazon podcasts. YouTube, of course, you can leave comments and likes, but there's a little bit of a lag before we get everything uploaded to YouTube. So it's nice to see that. That's why I have a Facebook group. So you can ask questions, have interactions, and connect with people. So if you're not a part of that yet, or kind of forgot that you are, hop on over there. It's in the show notes. Okay. The link is in the show notes. Request to jump on board. So you can also have interaction with me and give me your feedback as well. And if comfortable, please share your stories. I mean, we've all got them. Okay. I'm just lucky enough to have this platform to use as therapy. So I thank you for listening. No, it is a part of that. It's definitely a very helpful resource to have. If you don't have a podcast, connect with me. It's such an easy process to set up and it's so much fun to have that platform. If you have something in the world you want to share, I'll happily consult you through that process. It's something I do for many public figures and online businesses. So let's jump right into part 5 today. Relationship red flags, spotting the crazies. Yes, we're going to pick on some people today. It is what it is. I want to kind of dive into the world of relationship red flags, how to spot them early on. If honestly, I have to say the red flags actually are more apparent early. They start to go to different colors, sometimes look yellow and green and other red flag. Instead of a red flag, now it's maybe pink. Maybe it's a red flag that sat in the sun too long. We start to get our feelings take over our logic. And I like to go in head first when I first start dating someone and journal about it because again, you just kind of your heart takes over. Let's just be real. Love really is blind. Next thing you know, you're in a 6-year relationship going, what the heck? What the heck? I didn't ask for this crap. How do I get out of it? How do I backpedal now? It's much easier to backpedal a few months in than it is 6 years later. So I'm here to help you. I'm also going to link a great article that I found. You'll never believe where it's from. 17. Remember 17 magazine, girls? Oh my gosh, I totally loved that magazine growing up. It was my thing. I remember just curled up on my bedroom floor flipping through that magazine. So this article is called 20 Red Flags to Watch Out For in Your Relationship. So I want to kind of help you before it gets to relationship status. If I can get you, you might already be in it, head over heels. You might be married to it already. I don't know where you're at in your journey, but I want to help you spot them quickly so you can make choices and decisions before your heart's so invested, or you have children with this person, or real estate with this person, all the things that show up. A ring on your finger. Now the government's involved. A little harder to break free. But if you can do it early on, like I've done, I highly recommend it. The recovery time's much faster, like done, on to the next. So before we go into the red flags, I have to suggest this because this is what I do. I work with women on their self-esteem. I help you with your confidence level, how you feel about yourself through healing, mental challenges, a lot of mindset hacks, confidence boosters, all the things that get her to a space where she feels powerful and can take on the world. That's what my book is coming out. It's coming out soon. Gosh, I want to say fall, maybe sooner. I'm making some headway, guys. I've actually got one chapter left to write, and that's a third done. So it's a little project I'm working on right after I record this. So, hey, anything's possible. And that's called Permission to Be All of Me, which is a girlfriend's guide. Everybody loves that girlfriend. It's a very similar vibe as this podcast. Like you're hanging out with your girlfriend, having a glass of wine or coffee and just talking about life. The only difference is I'm also got the guide part in there. It's not just talking about my situations or real life stories, but it's got some hacks in there and guides, a little roadmap to self-confidence in every single chapter. So that's coming out soon. I'm super excited about that. And I want to, again, that's the foundation. When a woman is self-confident, she can pick up these red flags faster and bury them, like not just ignore them, but bury them along with the person. It's like next, moving forward. Because when you're insecure, everything looks like a red flag. If you're just coming out of a relationship that was super toxic, the next man you meet, it's going to feel like that person because you're still wearing that victim mindset. You're still hurting. You're still healing. That person doesn't even have a prayer. They probably can't do anything right because everything they do is reminding you of that last relationship, especially if those scars are still fresh. Those wounds are still there. They haven't had a chance to heal. So I want to kind of, as a little caveat into what we're talking about today, is you're not going to win if you're still hurting. If you're just leaving a relationship where a man cheated all the time, everyone's going to look like a cheater to you right now. So give yourself space and time to heal. That person you're going to meet deserves that. They don't deserve someone coming right out of the gate already skeptical. That's just not fair to that next person you get to meet. It's like that saying, if you don't heal your wounds, you'll bleed on people that didn't cut you. And that's exactly what you do when you're still wounded from that last relationship. Give yourself some breathing room, give yourself some time, heal and process. So here are just a few funny type of innuendos that have happened to me. And this is again, just spotting things that just seem like a little off so you can, pivot, take a detour away from this person, meet somebody else. Maybe you're 1 or 2 dates in, and you've already kind of felt like something might be, this pattern's a little off. I remember matching with a guy immediately on Bumble, was the dating app I was using at the time. It's a couple summers ago. And as soon as we swapped phone numbers, he directed me to, this is what I'm going to need you to do. You're going to go into your phone and you're going to need to mark my messages as read or unread. I guess I've never done this before. I've never had someone that controlling or someone that thought they could control me. Let me take that back. I'm sure there are people out there that thought they could control me, but that never got to that direction. I have an iPhone, so an Apple phone, of course, or Apple carrier of type technology for a smartphone has this feature, and I know others do as well, where you can let the other person know you've read their message. I immediately blocked him. I'm like, are you kidding me, dude? I don't even know you. We just swapped phone numbers and you're already telling me what to do with my phone. So that's a big red flag, right? That manipulating, I need to control you. I'm not even in a relationship, dude. I've not even met you in person yet. We're just going from dating app to texting and you're already wanting to know. And in that moment of bewilderment, he was already just blowing up my phone, just text after text after text. I'm like, wow, block, bye. So things like that, of course, are it's kind of an obvious sign. But if you're insecure, I'm going to keep comparing it. If you're insecure, you might think, oh, wow, he's so interested in me. No, honey, he's trying to control you. This isn't fascination. This isn't obsession. This isn't like a healthy obsession. I love you so much. I want to be near you. That's not what that is. This is insecurity speaking for that. This is a sign of a man that wants to manipulate and control you. And he's showing you right up front. If he's showing you that up front, I can only imagine what the rest is going to look like. That guy got a whole whopping maybe 2 minutes of my time. So jump forward, leave that situation as fast as possible. If they immediately start talking about your body or sex right out of the gate, that's also a red flag. I've even had a guy, like, the conversation stopped as soon as he told me how sexy my photos are. And it was a response with a question. I was talking about something to do with work and asked him a question about his career. And his response were, your photos are so sexy, or you're so sexy. I'm like, I'm trying to talk about career stuff right now. Like, this is so random. Needless to say, I unmatched, which you can do in these dating apps. So you probably get to the point where the person can be a little bit pushy. You can block them. You have that option to do, and move forward and just kind of play it by ear. Listen to your gut, especially in the beginning stages, because once again, your gut will start to get drowned out and muted out by your feelings, your heart, and just kind of listen in. That intuitive guidance that you all have, I want you to listen to it and empower yourself in the beginning to go, so you can gracefully exit any toxic relationships or potential of toxic relationships before they happen. Like I said, it's way easier to jump ship in the beginning than it is 6 years from now. I will share in another future episode, because it'll take way longer than we have today, on how to spot if you're dating a narcissist or a psychopath. Yes, a psychopath, a con man. They exist. I was in a relationship for 6 months. It was a long 6 months, but I will share that in a future episode, because again, it takes way too long to go through that, plus the topics I want to discuss today. So here's some more little red flags. If you're texting a guy, you're messaging him, you might be on 1 or 2 dates, you might be 6 months in. If they start to make you feel bad about yourself, that, my friends, is a red flag. Are they making you feel guilty? Are they starting to play and push at you? Well, okay, if you want to take the morning for yourself, they're very passive aggressive, then this is just going to get worse, not better. It's time to say goodbye. If they make you question your self-worth or they push your boundaries, I am a girl that likes my time to myself. If you don't appreciate that about me, then bye. I've got purpose in life. I've got things that pull at me, like finishing my book, doing this podcast, working on myself, growing my personal brand, working for my clients. I have big clients like Microsoft. These are not little tiny hobbies. These are big brands that require lots of time and energy and top-notch quality work. I'm not over here twiddling my thumbs, living off of some, I don't know, a trust of some sort that doesn't exist. So watch out for that kind of guy that's going to make you feel bad about your boundary or yourself, and just, relationships are supposed to be an addition to your life, an enhancement, not, oh, now I feel like garbage today because I asked for a quiet morning today to sleep in and read a book or do something, that I want to do some self-care time. And if your man's like, really, you need to go get a pedicure right now, or you're getting a massage, well, I wanted to see you. Yeah, you're going to need to let him go, because self-care, number one. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You must listen to that intuition. Like, I need some time to myself and I'm going to take it. And if he's not okay with that, fine. And I'm going to flip the script here for a second. How many times do we have to be okay with, your man taking a men's trip or going out and doing his guy thing, whether it's, a men's trip, or if your guy is into outdoor sports, like my father likes to fish and hunt and do all the things, go on a hunting trip or go on a fishing trip or go travel and do what they enjoy. I've dated a guy that loved the outdoors. He would go river rafting and kayaking and take his motorcycle on trips with other guys. You've got to be okay with that. They're getting their man time. They're rejuvenating too. They're rebooting. They're getting their testosterone back up again. They need to miss you a little bit. So if you're like me and you want your alone time, make sure you stick up for yourself, okay? And, they, just, it's a big red flag, guys. Boundaries first, which leads me into one, they don't listen to you. Have you ever found yourself like, that's a big red flag too? They don't support your goals. They don't listen to you. They have you kind of second guessing if they even have any feelings. These are signs of, again, the manipulation and control. And nothing's worse than when you don't feel heard. I'm one of 5 kids. That's a trigger point from childhood. You have to scream really loud to get seen and heard when you're from a big family. So in a relationship, if I don't feel heard, or they're not listening to me, you'll know because you're doing a lot of repetitive. This can be a sign that they don't have that emotional capacity to truly love you or how you want to be loved in a relationship and be a partner that can really meet your needs. There also could be signs of selfishness, which could lead again to being maybe a narcissist or someone that's just looking to manipulate and control you. When I was dating a narcissist, he repetitively did the passive aggressive. Well, I know how you need your Saturday mornings to do your thing, whatever it is you're doing on Saturday mornings. Who cares what I'm doing on my Saturday morning? Who cares? Like, yeah, that's my time maybe to sleep in, not have to wake up to an alarm clock, jump into meetings at 7 in the morning. Maybe I feel like just paying my bills that Saturday morning, or maybe I feel like working out, or maybe I feel like drinking my coffee and being a bum on the couch. I can do whatever I want. I'm a grown woman, but I had to constantly reinforce all that piece I needed or wanted. You shouldn't have to repeat yourself, ladies. You shouldn't have to. Once is enough. Once is enough. And if you almost start to feel defensive. And I'm sure you can agree with me that explaining feels draining. And constantly going into that, well, let me remind you again why I need self-care so I can get some time away from you because you drain me. You're a drain. You're not a faucet. You're not a fountain. You don't add to my life. That person needs to exit. They need to go. That's a big red flag. That's a red flag with neon lights around it, okay? Just speaking from experience. Move on. Of course, I kind of briefly mentioned they pressure you to get physical before you're ready. Again, at that really fast, let's talk about sex within first text or two, or there's already commenting about your body. Yeah, I always laugh a little bit when a guy's like, you have such a beautiful smile and pretty eyes. Yep, I agree. Thank you. I heard that one a lot. But you're almost laughing because you're wondering, what are you not saying? What is it? Thank you for keeping it above the neck. Thanks for keeping it classy, y'all. I appreciate you. You're gonna get a little more of my time because you were classy. But it's a turnoff, guys. If you're listening, and I know you are, it's a turnoff. We'll come to you when we're ready. We know you want sex. We know how you're wired. We've been around the block. We've been doing this a minute. You don't even ever have to talk about sex. Ever. We know. It's always right there in the front of your mind. We know. So there's no real reason to rush into anything until you're really, truly ready. That type of flirtation comes in time, comes natural when a woman's more comfortable around a certain guy and we're also physically attracted to you. And I know there are women out there that move faster than a lot of guys. I live in Vegas. I am aware what type of women are out here. I've got a lot of single guy friends that like to inform me of just what type of girl they date from time to time. And it blows my mind, the self-respect and how much there is lack of it, to put it nicely. Women, know your worth. Slow down. If a guy is really interested, he'll wait. He will wait. If he's really into you for you, he'll wait and it'll all be worth it. Oh my goodness, it'll be worth it. So let's talk about some more red flags. If you're noticing through conversation on the phone, dating, texting, that the relationship is all about them, time to say bye-bye. It's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. So every time you're hanging out, it's always about their favorite food, what they want to do on their schedule only. It's all about their interests, not any compromise at all. They don't care that, like if you find that you're not a big fan of a certain type of bar or going to loud places, but they are, and that's all that they keep choosing. And you're compromising. You're doing all the compromising. It's got to be give and take. And if it's not like that in the beginning, it's definitely not going to be like that later. It's going to be way worse to try to reinforce that instilling that into the relationship later on if it's not there in the front end. And they just kind of, I don't know. In all fairness, it gets harder to maintain it anyway, once you're 6 months in and more. So it's all about even exchange. How was your day? And then they talk about themselves, never asking how your day was. I have to pause and remember, because I like to naturally share. I feel like that gives the other person permission to share. So this was my day. How's yours going? Without asking sometimes. So I can be guilty of that. Because again, I like to share, like, hey, this is what's going, like, here you go. Okay, now it's your turn. Like ping pong, like it should just be natural. Now bounce it back to me. But sometimes a person needs to be given kind of that invitation to share. Not everybody shares naturally like I do. I can be an open book at times thinking the other person is also that way. So kind of look out for that. Again, if there are takers, there's a lot of takers out there and a lot less givers. And a lot of times we see that in a relationship where you've got that natural giver will actually attract the natural taker. That doesn't work. Someone's going to always be on empty, right? It's that giver. If you've got a giver mindset or a personality, be careful. Have your guard up. Let that person earn the giving you'll naturally give them. Because we like to help. We like to jump in and be there for someone. Make sure you're not hanging out with a taker. Takers don't know how to give back. It's got to be even. It's got to be more ebb and flow. And that's what relationships are all about. There's something else too. If you have pets or your friends meet the person you're dating, if pets give it away. If their pets don't like your date, you've got some problems, especially dogs, because dogs seem to like everybody. But if the dog's a little, there might be a reason for it. So kind of pay attention to that. But if you have decided to do happy hour with some of your friends and you're like, I want to also bring my date. Let's see how he intermingles with my friends. And your partner's like, nah. They don't have to get along with your best friends, especially up front, could be a little awkward. But if someone's in a committed relationship or wanting to go that direction, they're going to want to eventually meet your inner circle. That's just kind of a natural step. And again, caring for others, an extension of caring for you. That's kind of what it is. Like, I like you and I want to see who else you hang around. I want to get to know that inner circle or maybe your family. And again, sometimes you get that one impossible sibling or family member that's going to be a little more territorial with you or doesn't like anybody ever that you bring home. I get it. There's going to be situations where that's in place. But if they don't even try to get along with your friends or family, that gives you some time to pause and reflect. They're like, oh, no, I'm good. I'll never forget a date I had. Again, another narcissist. Gotta love those nasty, empty vessels that are just roaming around this free planet as if they're human. Ha! They're not. So I remember dating him just for a short stint, and I did invite him to our happy hour at the time. This was right after the Las Vegas shooting that we had. And it was October 1st, 2017, when we had that shooting, that horrible mass shooting down by the strip. Many of you know of it or heard of it. So we're all kind of raw. This is the week of. We're all a little raw. We had friends that were there. Praise God, they were okay. But again, it just kind of shook up the whole city. And all of us are a little emotional about it. And we went to our favorite little hangout. There's about, I don't know, 6 or 7 of us girls. I thought one of my girlfriends was going to bring her fiance. So I told my boyfriend at the time, there should be another dude there. Don't worry, it's not going to be all girls. There'll be another guy there. And your football game's on. We're going to a bar. You should be happy, right? Like, you can come if you want, but you don't have to. There was definitely no prerequisite. It's written in stone. You have to be there. He grumbled the whole time because it wasn't going to be all about him, which is a big sign you're dating a narcissist. And he was kind of offset, a little bit pissed off that my friend's fiance didn't show up, which was rare because he usually did join us girls and never had a problem with it. But this guy, he was pissed, and you could tell. And with a narcissist, you can always feel they're seething because they're getting ready to have a temper tantrum because they're basically 5-year-olds in adult bodies. They're just, again, they're a waste of human beings. They're just taking up oxygen on this planet. So you could feel his seething. He was starting to have a temper tantrum. He was already really short-tempered with the waiter or waitress. I think it was a waitress at the time. He was already getting his little panties in a bunch about her. And I'm like, here we go. Here comes the temper tantrum. I can feel it. Well, we had this beautiful sign outside of this bar that was on their billboard that said something about Vegas Strong at the time. And we're like, what would be a really good picture if all of us girls got in a line holding hands facing the sign, and someone takes our picture behind us of us just kind of standing strong with the Vegas Strong sign in the background that we were looking at. It was at night, so you would just see our outline. It did turn out to be a great picture, by the way. It was really cool. And, well, I'm the only one that brought a date, so we asked him if he's going to take it. Oh, you would have thought we had asked him to give up all of his blood and his firstborn and his 401k. Oh my goodness. Here comes the temper tantrum. Oh, did we just ask a favor of you and you're not going to be in the picture, you poor baby? It's not about you, you poor widowed narcissist. And he freaked out. He's like, sure, I'll be your Ansel Adams, take your photo for you. Sure, there's a fee for this. I can't believe you guys. And just rolling his eyes and muttering under his breath and cussing and swearing because we made him actually take a couple shots from an iPhone. God forbid. Now, at the end of that evening, I said, well, not even before our food came, I don't think. I said, you know what? I've got a ride home. One of my girlfriends can take me home. You're more than welcome to leave now. And he did. He exited. Bye. And the next morning, of course, I got the phone call. I don't think this is working out so good. You think? Yeah. Bye-bye. Go be somewhere else. Go ruin someone else's life and evening. I don't have time for you. So, that's, again, a big red flag. And I had endured a few of those episodes, especially in a restaurant type setting. When your date makes the waiting staff miserable, just leave, girls. Check, please. Bye. That's a big red flag. When he can't even hang around your friends and family without making it all about them, big red flag. Bye. Bye-bye. My girlfriend's got my back. This was before Uber. I wasn't really comfortable with Uber. This was 5 years ago. But bye. My girlfriend's got my back. She's going to take me home. I'm good. I'm going to enjoy my salad with my girlfriends and talk about how we're healing through this process right now that you seem to be completely unaware of and couldn't care less about because it's not about you. Those guys get to go bye-bye. Get rid of them as fast as possible. And your gut will tell you. You'll feel this discomfort in your gut. Like, oh, Lord, this guy's a ticking time bomb. At any minute, he's going to have a temper tantrum. His panties are going to get uncomfortable, start to knot up his balls or whatever it is that the problem is, and you're going to start to see a little temper tantrum. Bye. Bye-bye. So let them go. As you can tell, I have zero respect for assholes like that. They're disgusting humans. They're sick. They need to go and off themselves. That's the most negative thing you'll ever hear me say on my podcast. So, and you'll find out more about that again as I go deeper into a future podcast on how to find out if you're dating a narcissist or a psychopath, just get some clarity. So here's another big red flag. Do your friends like your significant other? Does your friends like them? It's one thing, again, if one friend just rubs the wrong way or they had a conversation and it just didn't work out, then yeah, maybe that's just, a personality conflict. Take it with a grain of salt. But if all your friends are like, you're bringing him, uh, you can just tell, like, really? And that's everybody. You start to see a pattern. Nobody wants this person to come. That, my friends, take it with a grain of salt, but kind of, again, if this, let's paint a scenario where it probably wouldn't be so much of a big red flag, but let's just say you're trying to break free of a very toxic crowd and your new man is a positive person that's helping you get on a trajectory towards maybe not having addictions, self-help, getting on a healthier path, introducing you to God, Jesus, a faith-based lifestyle. And you're trying to weed out the crazies in your life, the toxic people, the drug addicts, the alcoholics, the people that are victims, people that are literally circling the drain and want you to go circle the drain with them. And your new man is the opposite and is helping you get on a healthier path. Of course, your friends are going to hate that person. They're taking you away from their victimhood. No, be a victim with us. Misery loves company. Don't get better. Where are you going? That's a different scenario. And in that case, girlfriend, you jump on board in that healthy bus. Go make better with yourself and exit. Start to clean up your life from that type of friendships and relationships and that circle that's just toxic for you. I highly recommend you break up with those type of friends. That's a different scenario. But if you are a healthy person, your inner circle is healthy, has the right mindset, supports you and loves you, and they're like, I'm sorry, I don't see it. I don't know what you're doing with him. Maybe you're not seeing it, but he's not good for you. He's actually making you go backwards in life. That's a little different, okay? Huge, by all means. Another red flag is if your man calls you crazy. I know this sounds a little bit bad since I just beat up a narcissist personality disorder, but maybe they're trying to gaslight you. If you're like, wait, I'm going to start recording conversations because you're making me feel crazy. Maybe I am crazy. I never said that. I never did that. I don't know what you're talking about. I never said I was still seeing somebody. I never said I was still talking to that person. You've got me confused with some other guy you're talking to. You're crazy. And if you start to see, like, I'm going to have to track this stuff because I'm questioning myself, there's a good chance they're gaslighting you. Again, a trait of a narcissist. And anyone that wants to manipulate you. Clean and simple. So kind of watch that. If you start to see that repetitive, you're crazy, you're crazy, you're crazy, you're crazy. People usually use that term when they're trying to invalidate your emotional experiences. They are trying to manipulate you to believe that, whatever your thoughts are, your responses to what I'm doing is not important. That, again, is gaslighting and manipulation. If you express to your significant other or the guy you're seeing, I do not like how you disrespected me, and they turn it around and do the blame shifting of, well, I don't like how you're reacting to my disrespect. That, my friends, is a big red flag, and that screams manipulation. And of course, in this article that I have included in the show notes that you can review in your own terms and go back and reflect on, I'm covering some of it. Not all 20 red flags, but some of them. And, again, some are pretty blatant. They cheat on you. You think that's a red flag? I mean, a lot of people cheat for multiple reasons. It all seems to boil down to one thing: extreme insecurity. It's more them than you. But just kind of kind of watch out for this stuff. Also, if they're like always talking about breaking up, they're threatening to break up with you all the time. Again, they're trying to do this manipulative behavior to kind of control your emotions. Let them. Bye. Bye. Watch their actions more than their words. Bye. See ya. And just kind of again see these little repetitive behaviors that will just kind of show you lack of respect. Something else that I noticed too along the lines that I have seen in my past very toxic relationship. They don't have other strong relationships. They're super secretive. If someone's not out there, you can choose not to like social media or not. But if you're not transparent on social media, it's because they're very secretive. There's a reason for that. They're hiding something, or they've been busted before on social media. And I mentioned this in other episodes as well. It's getting that clarity like, I like people that are transparent, that are out there. They're not super secretive, never share anything kind of people. And I get it. You can be private and not secretive. You could just choose to have privacy, and that's okay too. But if they're really on lockdown, there's a reason. They don't even have to let their own family in. That just kind of, that doesn't sit well with me. And if they don't have other strong relationships, like I have friends from my childhood, and then I have friends that I've just made this week, like that's how I am, collecting people as I go. And you can talk to people I worked with 20 years ago, and they will still give me a great review on the level of professionalism I have in the workplace. It's very consistent. You'll see people I worked with 20 years ago to who I worked with yesterday, just on LinkedIn alone. And you'll see the commonality of integrity, professionalism, always having that person's best interest at heart. You'll see a common denominator there of my character. That says a lot. If that person doesn't have that, and they're sketchy, and everyone you meet, they just met last week, and the people that do know them, they've already burned all those bridges, so just don't pay attention to the burning behind me. That's a big red flag. If something's up, whether they're non-romantic relationships or not, friendships from childhood, just gets a little weird. Another red flag as we just kind of start to tidy up this episode, because there's so many. If they don't ever talk about the future, maybe they're just interested in getting to know you. You're just a right now girl. I like to talk about future things. I'm 49 years old. I'm not approaching retirement, but I'm looking at those next 20 years very differently than I did the previous 20 years. My baby girl is 19 and, looking to go out on her own, and I don't have little children anymore. I don't have a school schedule. I work remote. I can live anywhere. I want to talk about the future. And if they don't want to talk about it with you, they're probably not seeing you in their future. Because maybe you're not dating somebody that's really thinking, I want to go the distance with you. It doesn't have to be 30 years out, but it's nice to know that your partner wants to make plans for the holidays or next summer with you. Just to kind of show you that they're taking this relationship as seriously as you are. And that's kind of gives you that comfort level of, okay, I'm investing in the right person. Because my time's everything to me. Time is the one thing you'll never get back. It is your most valuable asset. And by all means, I want you to take it as valuable, because you're never promised tomorrow. None of us are. And if you're investing in this person, make it worthy. Make it worth your time. I don't care what age you are. It doesn't even matter anymore. That's not even about that. Because again, time is precious. I've lost friends that have died way too young in life. Way too young. And it breaks my heart. But again, at 17, you're thinking, I've got all the time in the world. I'll date whoever I want to, floating from relationship to relationship like a little bee pollinating flowers, just jumping around. As you get older, you tend to realize, you know what? My time's precious. I don't want to waste it on someone I'm not going to even have any future with. What's the point? So again, kind of taking in value that time It goes back to self-love, self-valuing, self-honoring, self-care, all the self stuff, because you have to be number one. There's nothing left to give if you don't put yourself first and fill that cup. Because we all love everybody. If you're like me and you want to love and give and just give, I know I got to regroup because then I'll have the energy again to love everybody like I want to. So I hope this helps. One little reminder again, if you're already in a super insecure space when you go out into the dating world, everything's going to look like a red flag because you're paranoid from whatever past hurt or trauma you have not taken the time to heal yet. I don't want you to date paranoid. I want you to be aware. That's it. Come from a space of awareness, ownership of who you are, what your attachment style is, because you've listened to other podcasts that I've posted. There's one on about attachments. Got to go back a little bit, but you'll find it. Learn who you are in the relationship first, how you push people away, how you gravitate towards them, how you attract them, and then go out and date and just be aware of the red flags. Journal about them because you might get caught up emotionally and forget them later. Go back and look back at them, which is something I did with my very toxic relationship that be on the lookout for in future episodes. So, as always, if you like this episode, share it with a friend. Forward this stuff, girl. Don't be hoarding. You know that girlfriend you thought of during this call, especially if you are not dating and you're just listening for entertainment purposes. Maybe this whole series kept you married because you're like, forget it. The grass ain't greener. Carrie just showed me how brown that grass is. Maybe I'll just stick to therapy and working on building my marriage and making it stronger, or the current relationship you're in. Maybe we'll just make it better instead of thinking the grass is greener on the other side. The grass is green where you water it, girls. You know this. So share this episode with someone that you thought of. Share it on your social media, wherever. If you're getting some great learning nuggets from and the dating hacks that I've shared with you, share it. There's a 6-part series for a reason. So the next part 6 will be about self-love and dating as I segue into that, because you're the prize, my dear. You are the prize. And you're going to love that final episode to our 6-part dating series. Big hugs, big love. See you in the next episode.
Hi there, friend. If you enjoyed this episode, do me a favor and double check that you're subscribed or following. And if you've got a quick 30 seconds, it would mean the world to me if you could leave me a 5-star review and share what you specifically liked about this episode.